Listen up. It's B-Eazy Dat Dude, the great. He ain't fake, he one of the real guys. Spitting fire every stream. You been late to the party, now it's time to realize. From Pittsburgh to around the world, yeah, the flow is elite. Every beat that he slide on turns into straight heat. Came up from the grind, selling box on a laptop, running up a bag, feel like he hit the jackpot. Got the luxury visions, ambition vivid, never bluff. Person's progress, persevere when the going gets tough. B-Eazy Dat Dude, got stripes in the game. Every rhyme, every line, they gon' remember the name. From the streets to the stage, the energy don't fade. Legend in the making, yeah, history's what he's laid. Mic in his hand, heart in the flow and soul on every beat. Dropping knowledge, power, bravado, his legacy complete. Hustle, amplify, lyrics electrify, that's the truth. Be-Eazy Dat Dude, established with certified proof. Feel the bass, feel the vibe, let it ride through the crowd. All the words, every hook, man, he keeps making us proud. King of his lane, rising above every feud. All hail the one and only, Be-Eazy Dat Dude. Yeah. Yeah.
He always do it big, you know who it is. Be-Eazy, Be-Eazy, Be-Eazy that dude. He on his way to the top and he ain't about to stop. You thought he would flop and didn't wanna give him props. The things you dreaming about he already did do. Now it's time to soak a game he about to give you. Like, share, follow, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to tune in when he goes live. Make a contribution if you feeling the content. Tap into the realness if you tired of the nonsense. I mean no disrespect, ain't trying to sound rude, but the world already knows that Be-Eazy's that dude. Ooh.
Be-Eazy Dat Dude. Be-Eazy Dat Dude. Yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the ballroom, you gotta stand the rain. Be-Eazy Dat Dude. Yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the ballroom, you gotta stand the rain. Big block engine with 26 inches on the chrome I ride. Started at the bottom, soared to the top and still on the ride. Air handshake solid, seal the deal airtight. He gave you the blueprint to grind and get your hustle right. Money in the vision, it was dirty but he washed it clean. Turned a dollar to a dream, now he living like a king. From the late nights grinding to the early bird moves. Ask around the city, he really that dude. He love how he talking cause he walking too. Every step calculated, everything come through. From the hood by the views, yeah, the rooftop views. He the bridge between the struggle and the good life views. Never fold under pressure, shine like a diamond in the sun. Every loss was a lesson, every win is hard won. Now the crowd chant his name when he steps in the room. Be-Eazy Dat Dude, yeah, you know he's the truth. Be-Eazy Dat Dude, yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the ballroom, you gotta stand the rain. Be-Eazy Dat Dude, yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the ballroom, you gotta stand the rain.
Turn your radios up, Turn your radios up. Y'all know what this is. Y'all know who this is. B-Eazy Dat Dude, an impromptu stream back with another one. This one is gonna be a banger. Will ruffle some feathers, so it will be a doozy. Now look, on this good Saturday, I don't like to keep y'all waiting. So before we get this thing started, you know, I gotta hit you.
If you know the song, sing along. Yeah, you're right.
私も地元民。
Hey,
と言っても実際すぐらいです。もう友達できたの？うん。ぶったまんまこっち見ない方がいいかな。
Look, this promethazine got me leaning like a cholo in the club. I'm 20 deep. I don't be riding solo. Pull some bad bitches, they vanilla and cocoa. They wanna take some photos when we kick it out in Soho. Chicks are showing tits and popping pussy for my promo. Told them like juvenile, baby, move it for me slow mo. Then I'm right back to the block, cause I keep getting modo. I be flipping, not shrinking. I don't give a fuck about no ho. This nigga name ain't D-Lo, but pimpin' these bitches and stacking this bread forever be my stilo. This is B-Eazy Dat Dude in the trap making pass smooth. If I ever go broke, then I'm about to pull a jack move. Since a nigga healthy, I don't even gotta worry. With my bitch from Fiji eating tandoori and chicken curry, that ism is really envy. My pimp game international, I design my own clothes, so I be always looking fashionable. Here's a couple facts about me that y'all didn't know. Some of y'all be getting bread, but I be getting bigger, dawg. I got bigger guns and a whole lot of bad. And we are activated. Now let's get into this thing. Of course, I've been joined by some illustrious guests. Shakara King, also my New York brethren. Shout out to Nassau County, but where Brooklyn at? Roger Meadows, what it do in the building. Y'all saw the title, y'all saw the thumbnail. We are gonna get right into this thing because I do not like to keep y'all waiting. So it's been apparent for decades that the Democrats absolutely hate black people and they despise black people. Now, some will retort and say, but what about the Republicans? Yes, the country has a proclivity for anti-blackness. So this is not caping for parties, right? Both parties are beholden to the establishment. The establishment doesn't like black people. It's plain to see. When they like a particular group or demographic, you see how they bend over backwards for that group. It's framed as if these people do so much for black people, but they don't. They use black people as mascots and crash out dummies to advance their agenda. They talk about Jim Crow, all of the pain and the plight and tribulations that black people went through. And as soon as there's time to compensate, to rectify said issue, suddenly it decenters black people. So all of the trauma centers black people. Oh my God, black people were lynched, redlined, sharecropping, debt peonage, mass incarceration, illegal medical experiments, right? And in order to help rectify that, we're going to help non-citizens from a country that's thousands of miles away of seeking asylum. So as you can see on here, Tariq Nasheed shared a post of Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles. So Los Angeles population, right? The black population is 8%. However, the the homeless population is 32% black, right? Where are all the per capita idiots? No one is saying, but per capita, they're just like, oh, well, it's the black people, so who cares? So she announces that there was a $1 million award to prevent homelessness for Asians. Now, what they do with the tricky language is like what they did with the C-19 hate crime bill. They frame it as, no, this is a hate crime bill that protects everyone. But then they were saying, stop Asian hate. There wasn't a counter campaign saying all hate matters. See, the Democrat establishment was funding Black Lives Matter. And then they also funded segments of Antifa, All Lives Matter. There were Trans Lives Matter, Palestinian Lives Matter. So even though the Black Lives Matter movement, the grassroots movement, were real and genuine and authentic to its core. However, the corporate establishment that used it as a vehicle and a vessel to put Black pain on the center and be displayed as some sort of political prop in football to just kick around for people to raise money off of, it didn't help the community, right? But people were all okay with, well, Black lives doesn't just matter, all lives matter. But you didn't hear a lot of people saying, stop all hate, why just fixate on Asian hate? There was a bipartisan effort. Congress never comes together for anything. You see them fighting right now, but they came together to give millions and millions to the Asian community because they framed Black people as these alleged boogeymen who were going around attacking Asians. When you got into the numbers, because they say numbers don't lie, people do, but numbers don't, right? And they say numbers don't lie, but you can lie with numbers. But let's just go with the numbers. The year that they gave millions and millions to Asian people for so-called Asian hate, the leading victim of hate crimes was Black Americans. But guess what? No one cared. They said, just get over it if you're receiving hate. But when the Asians were receiving not even close to the same level of hate, Congress rushed, put the capes on and said they're victims. No one was telling them to not have a victim mentality. No one was telling them not to beg the government. Instead, they said, no, we're victims and you need to treat us like victims. And then they went to mommy and daddy government with their hand out. The same government that they're telling you, why are y'all asking for reparations? Why are y'all begging? Oh, you mean like the Asian people were begging? You mean like the Jewish people were begging? So it's okay for everyone to say, I'm aggrieved. Many of those hate crimes weren't really crimes. They were hate incidents. Some of those incidents were some people saying, you have the Kung flu. Guess who came up with that? A white president. Guess who got the blame and the backlash for it? Black people, right? So we're supposed to get over being called nigger, mud sharks, and all sorts of stuff. But people can't get over being called an illegal alien, which is a legal term. That's not my term. I didn't come up with that term. Show me where people were lynch those illegal aliens. It didn't happen. People were saying lynch those niggers, though. But we're supposed to get over that, right? People can't take being told that you have the Kung flu. And I'm not champion for bullying and, denigrating people. But what I'm saying, what has a historical precedence of atrocities attached to it in this country? People committing hate crimes, calling people nigger, or people committing hate crimes by saying you have the Kung flu. Someone saying go back to China or your homeland. That became xenophobic. But when people come over here and say Black people are lazy and degenerate and all sorts of negative stereotypes, specifically demeaning and denigrating foundational Black Americans, suddenly that's not xenophobia though, right? So let's get into this article, right? And then I'll see some of this weaselly language. Let me see. Okay, hold on. Let me pull this down. Because when you click on the link, it takes you to a different screen. So I have to pull that up right now. So this is from KTLA. LA Mayor Bass announces 1 million award to prevent homelessness, right? And this is why they like to use vague and nebulous, idiotic and offensive terms like people of color, marginalized groups, underserved communities, things like that, because it's just an umbrella term, which includes a lot of people based on the vagueness and the broadness of the term. But in practice, it discriminates based on a lot of people. See, they won't say anything specific about Black people. That's like a word that's taboo and forbidden to say, unless you're using Black people as a political donkey to advance your agenda. But when it comes time to dole out resources, they make sure not to say Black. They can say Latino, 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 Asian, 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 Jewish, 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 immigrant, immigrant, immigrant. But they never could say Black. Even when it's a Black person involved, they pivot and say people of color so that they can try to have other people tether and leech onto it. So let me try to make this a little bit bigger, and I'm going to read through this, or at least some of it. Hold on. Los Angeles Mayor Bass has announced a 1 million award to Little Tokyo Service Center. No, it's not for Asians. It's for everyone. All homeless people matter. People know that Asians in general, specifically Asians in California, have vile and disgusting anti-Blackness that is rampant within their communities, right? Does anyone believe that the Little Tokyo Service Center is going to help Black homeless people? Right? So it says the funding will support low-income renters at risk of losing their homes, right? So that's vague. Hey, Black people could be low-income renters and they could be at risk losing their home. See, they won't say Black people, but they will say seniors, right? Well, seniors could be anyone. There's Black seniors, right? Seniors, families with young children. Families with young children. You see, it doesn't say citizens with young children. There's a bunch of undocumented people that have families with young children, right? People with disabilities. Like I always tell you, when you talk about DEI, they frame Black people as the mascot. But if a straight, buff white dude breaks his leg, now he's disabled. And he's entitled to the same benefits as you as a minority, because disabled people qualify as a minority in this country. That's how vague these terms are. That's how nebulous they are. And you can get into the weeds about it, but then it will turn into, hey, you can't be ableist and discriminate against someone because of their disability. So now a disability is on par with someone being lynched for the color of their skin, right? You're a minority who was lynched, and I'm a minority who broke my leg. We're the same, or that's the same equivalent, right? Immigrants. They have no issue saying immigrants. And households with limited English proficiency, which is them just saying immigrants twice. What people have a limited English proficiency? People who just got here. People who are trying to assimilate by adopting and learning a new language. That's an immigrant. But you see how they just say it multiple times? Immigrants and households with limited English proficiency. No one who was born here and their mom was born here, and then their grandma was born here, and then their family was born here. None of them have a limited English proficiency. So there is a demographic that has one. And see, with foundational Black Americans, the majority of us, we don't even say, hey, no, none of these funds should go to anyone else. What we're saying is we see the hypocrisy. All of these things that they say they can't do, they roll out the red carpet for other groups. They say you can't do something that only benefits or disproportionately benefits your group. Yet this disproportionately benefits Asians, right? Otherwise, why would they award it to the Little Tokyo Service Center? If this is about if this is about seniors, are all seniors? So all of the seniors at risk losing their home. Oh yeah, go talk to the Asians. All of the people with disabilities. Oh yeah, go talk to the people in the Little Tokyo Center. You mean to tell me there's no Black owned, Black led, Black organized centers? And if not, how about you take a portion of that $1 million, let's say $10,000, 20,000, let's just go with 20,000. I'm sure people can get something started. Now that's a drop in the bucket compared to $1 million grant, but we're saying, fine, you giving these people, you just rolling out the red carpet, at least give the crumbs. And they're saying, no, not only we don't even want to give you the crumbs, right? The crumbs that fell on the ground. No, you're not entitled to that. And just so you don't have it, we're going to sweep the crumbs up. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Why aren't they telling the Little Tokyo Service Center to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, right? So Mayor Bass also cited a new report by the LA County Department showing a decrease in homeless mortality for the first time in a decade. So now she's saying homeless mortality has decreased, but let's give money to Asians. So with new groundbreaking initiatives, we have helped reverse long-standing trends with overall homelessness, street homelessness, and now homeless mortality all declining. So who is she talking about? So look at this. Little Tokyo Service Center provides social welfare. Hold on. I thought Asians were the model minorities and that they didn't get welfare, right? So there's communities filled with nothing of Jewish people. 80 to 90% of them are getting welfare, but guess who they paint as the caricature of a welfare queen? Little Tokyo Service Center provides social welfare and community development services that assist low-income individuals and other people in need, contributes to community revitalization and cultural preservation, and provides resources to neighboring Asian, Pacific Islander, and other low-income communities. So that's what the pivot is. This is to help Asians, but then they say, no, not Asians, Asians and other low-income communities. Those other low-income communities don't include the Black people. Do you know that they have an Asian and Latino pack in California? Not just in California, but other parts of the countries. So they'll use the pain of Black people and say, we're people of color. But then once you ask them what color they are, many of them are the same complexion as white people, but you're supposed to call them a person of color. Donald Trump is darker than most Asians, but Asians are considered people of color, right? So which Asians are we talking about? A Lily W Chinese person or a super dark Cambodian, right? So when they made this Latino and Asian pack, why didn't they make a people of color pack? No, they said, us Latinos and Asians, we need to work together. We don't give a F about the Black people. However, we will use Black pain. Why are they always quoting MLK? You hear Asian people quoting MLK. You hear white people quoting MLK. You hear Hispanic people quoting MLK. And I've asked this question over and over and over, and I don't ever get a credible, legitimate answer. Who is the Asian version of Martin Luther King? Who is the Hispanic version of Fred Hampton? Don't worry, I'll wait. They talk about the Brown Berets and a Rainbow Coalition. Yeah, it's always a Rainbow Coalition led by Black people, being the figureheads, the face, and the mascots. And when the resources get doled out, it's not a rainbow distribution of resources. The resources get hoarded for specific ethnic demographics, right? And people are okay stepping on and stepping over Black people in order to get their political advancement, which is a cutthroat, it's a cutthroat sport. Politics is war without bloodshed. War is politics with bloodshed. Okay, fine. So if we're at war and people are calling it out and galvanizing their troops to let us know, like, hey, you know, these are enemy lines and you're behind them, right? You're drawing a line in the sand saying, okay, cool. This is warfare. It is what it is. Let's fight. Then it's turning around. Hey, well, why are you being, hold on, buddy. Why are you being divisive? Why are you being xenophobic? You know, why are you being an isolationist? Hold on. You mean, why am I just keeping the same energy that you have? We're late to the delineation party. We're late to the whole group economics thing. We've been trying to uplift everyone. We've been uplifting everyone. We've been inviting and including everyone while everyone has been excluding us, right? People will say, you got a bunch of people. The only thing that they care about is growing up to black people, not so they can soak up some of our cultural ingenuity, not so they can build businesses with us, so they can make a rationale for them saying nigga. That's literally all you hear. I grew up around blacks and that's why I say nigga. You got a Latino company where you only hire Latinos, but you grew up around black. Where's the black and brown company? Why aren't you hiring those niggas that you grew up around, right? You hire a bunch of Latinos that you don't call niggas. Then you go around saying nigga all day. No, I'm only saying it because I grew up around y'all, right? But we grew up around y'all as well. So, like I said, all slurs matter. The merch coming soon. Shout out to Johnson Different, right? All slurs matter. So let's just all bombard each other with slurs since it doesn't matter. Since that's all we're good for growing up around each other. I grew up around Asians and Chinese people, and that's why I call them chink. I don't mean it like that, right? No, that would sound idiotic. What would sound more progressive is, hey, I grew up around Asian people, and that's why I love them. We do business together. We exchange resources. We growing together as a community. That would make sense. Hey, I grew up around Hispanics and that's why we do business together. I started a landscaping company with this person. This person is helping me with my distribution because I grew up around Hispanics. That's why I want to break bread with them. Those are mi hermanos. That sounds like reverence and respect. Not, I grew up around Hispanics and that's why I call them pinche mayates. I grew up around Hispanics. That's why I call them wetbacks and spicks to show love to my spicks that I grew up with. This shit sounds idiotic, just me saying that. And that's how pathetic and idiotic you sound by saying you grew up around blacks. So there's no gun to your head forcing you to say nigga, right? Fine. You want to say nigga so much? How about you hire some of them niggas? How about you give some of those niggas some of your resources? How about you let those niggas marry your daughters or your mamas, right? Your mama got divorced by Benito, Hector, and Jorge. Let Jamal get a chance at your mama, right? Since we all niggas, ain't that what they like to say? We the same. Hispanics is the same as blacks. We niggas too. Until you try to marry them, until you try to get a business with them. So we're just tired of the tethering, the cultural leeching, and the lying. So let me pull this down. And now I'm going to get into what Tariq Nasheed's response to this. I'm going to see the chat. Hopefully the chat has been chatted. I haven't had a chance to look. But give me uno momento and I'm going to pull this up right here. And actually, while y'all waiting, just give me like 40 seconds.
You ain't know. Let's just be easy. Ay, ay. Let's just be easy. That dude. Be easy. Is that dude? You hear me? You feel me? Ooh. B-Eazy Dat Dude, yeah. Be easy.
Okay, so we're back at it. So I gave y'all the prelude to the discussion. Now I'm going to react to this video from the Honorable Tariq Nasheed. He's discussing what I just said, so I'm going to get into some of the video. This is from his TikTok live, so people call in. He usually does like a monologue, and then people call in and give their perspective on various topics. So let me see. I'm going to go ahead and play this, and let me know if you guys have any issues hearing this video. Let's get into it.
That is a problem.
Accommodation.
Don't got YouTube Premium, so I gotta mute that, and then I will skip the ad. But salute to y'all, and this is the moment that you can hit the like for your boy. It won't cost you a fee. The likes are free. Hold up.
So let me get on Karen Bass. Oh, Lord. Karen Bass out here in Los Angeles. Our mayor. Where are my Los Angeles people? I know Tierra Dynamite is in here. What's up, Tierra? You know, you out here in LA. Oh, Karen Bass. Oh, she's up to her old tricks. You know, out here in LA, we got a very bad problem with Black people who are homeless. It's a bad problem out here. Even over by the museum, there's a park, and there's just a lot of homeless Black people there. And, you know, I've employed many of the homeless people for little events we've had at the museum. I've tried to do my part. We're like, I think Black people are 9% of the population of LA, and we're 31% of the homeless people. So we've been trying to get the state and the city to help us specifically with the homelessness issue. That's a problem. That is a problem. You see. So instead of helping us.
So just give me one moment, because we like to hit y'all in real time with that scholarship. So give me a second. I'm going to pull this up. Let me just share my screen right here. Bada boom, bada bam. Right. So as y'all can see, what percent of homeless in LA are Black? In Los Angeles, approximately 31 to 34% of the homeless population are Black, despite comprising only 9% of the population, right? But per capita, right? No one cares. And this is what they say. Look, yeah, we see y'all 9% of the population out there, and y'all comprise 34% of the homeless. And the way that we'll help the homeless crisis will bring in millions and millions of immigrants. Surely that will help Black homeless people, right? So now you got a bunch of immigrants here, and they say, no, not only did we bring them over here, we're going to help them with housing, healthcare, and oh, look, they have babies too. So we have to help them with strollers and childcare. And you homeless niggas need to just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? And people champion this on. People champion on NGOs and your government establishment to roll out the carpet for non-citizens. Meanwhile, you got Black American citizens, many of them who are veterans. And no one cares because they're homeless, right? These aren't my statistics. You just type this in. What percent of homeless in LA are Black, right? Now let me do this too. What percent of homeless? Now y'all see when I type this, what percent of homeless in LA are Black? Y'all see that instantly the numbers come up, right? Let's see the difference. What percent of homeless people in LA are Asian? Do y'all see the difference? Do y'all see the difference? There's no number that pops up. Let me show y'all the difference. First of all, this comes out of 10,000 results. But when I say what percentage of homeless people are black, y'all see the difference, right? What percentage of homeless people are black? About 42,000 results. And you can clearly see, you can see the numbers, but when you type in Asian, you can't find the numbers. Like, what percentage of them are homeless? If you look at all of these charts, it doesn't say what percentage of homeless people are Asian. So now look, let's see. Homelessness grows 10% in the city. The count of Asians more than doubled, though at 1,212, it was less than 2% of the whole, right? So black people make up 31 to 34% of the homelessness in LA. Asian people make up less than 2% of the homeless people. When have you guys ever seen a homeless Asian person, right? Not to say there's no homeless Asian people, but Asian people are the model minorities, right? So it's not a lot of Asian homeless people. They make up less than 2% of the homeless population. And guess who Karen Bass and the Democrats decided needs the most help? Right? These are the type of analogies when I say, if you got someone that has a paper cut, someone that stubbed their toe, and someone that has a broken leg, the Democrats are going to say, hold on, we got to get to that person with the paper cut first. And then you're sitting over there with a broken leg, and then they help the person with a paper cut. And you're like, I need surgery. My leg is broke over here. Oh no, we got to help the person who stubbed their toe. So then they overlook you for a person that stubbed their toe, and you're like, yeah, I'm still here with a broken leg. And then they say, look, yeah, your leg is broke, but there's someone in a third world country who broke their leg and they don't have the resources. So we have to help them. That is what the Democrat and both parties support this. And like I said, whether it's the lefty liberal lunatics, the MAGA morons, once it's happening to black people, both people co-sign and endorse it because it's not happening to them. They think this is preordained to happen to the niggers, right? This is why they have terms like TND, total nigger death, or I say destruction, because even if they don't unalive us, you know, they kind of want you to suffer from diseases of despair, right? So this is both parties. Both parties hate black people. I would say the Democrats hate black people even more because they like to play good cop, bad cop and say, we're your friends, we love you, or mahogany warrior, and then turn around and stab you in the back. What is worse? Someone who's a known enemy who is stabbing you in the front, or someone who is allegedly your friend stabbing you in the back, right? Obviously, you don't want to get stabbed at all, but you definitely don't want to get stabbed by your alleged friend. So let me go ahead and get back into the video. Like I said, Asian people comprise less than 2% of the homeless people in LA. However, Karen Mammy Bass thought it was a great idea to, you know, put the cape on for them. So let's get back into the video. And shout out to Last Call, Mr. Midnight Soul himself. And now it's not even midnight soul. So you're midday soul right now, or sunset, the sunset soul. Shout out to Last Call though.
Instead of the mayor, Karen Bass, remember Karen Bass, when we go out here and say, hey, California, we got to get reparations. These people crash out our reparations. They start splaining. They start lollygagging. But Karen Bass had a blank check for legal.
And shout out to Johnson Different and also Big Rick Slap. Salute to y'all.
Funds for illegals. They had a blank check telling them, we got all types of resources. If you come in here illegally, oh, we got.
The other thing, I always talk about immigrant exceptionalism, right? So they know that Black people are disproportionately racially targeted by the police. And they, with only allegedly 13% of the population, we represent over 50+% of the exonerations, which means we were wrongfully convicted. So many of these numbers are skewed, and the people don't say, but per capita, right? They don't even talk about that then. Um, and there's not a large swath of people on the Democrat Party that are going to pony up millions and millions for a free legal defense fund for underserved Americans, but specifically underserved foundational Black Americans who want to stay out of the injustice system, right? But when it came to immigrants, faster than you can spell the word immigrant, Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom, they came together with the other Democratic corporate shills, and they passed a $50 million legal fund free of charge, but only for immigrants. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Now, I may just pull it up in real time, but I'm telling you, I'm directing you so you can just go look it up. They're not the only ones who done this. This is why they keep talking about ISIS like the Gestapo, and they keep saying that they're like slave catchers and Jim Crow to try to sensationalize the story. And then who suffered through Jim Crow? It wasn't a bunch of Asians. There weren't no immigrants suffering through Jim Crow. So there's no immigrants being lynched. All they're saying is like, hey, you came here the wrong way. We're going to send you out right out the front door back to your country, the country that you love, that you says is a superior culture, that you love flying a flag for. Yeah, we're going to send you back to that place. Suddenly that's considered xenophobia and like slavery, right? The slaves didn't have a choice. These people are making a voluntary choice, and they're being given money. Slaves weren't paid at all. It was free labor from people who were designated as chattel property. These people are saying, hey, we gonna send you packing, but we gonna give you 1,000. I've seen some people got minimum 1,000, and I've seen some people get up to 5,000 to go back to your home country, where the dollar stretches further in your home country. And then they say you can come back the right way. I'm sure with $1,000, you can go back home, get some popping, come back the right way. Right. But, you know, in order to have the massive amount of people here, you can't come the right way. In order for the Democrats to attain political and have a stranglehold on political power, they need people flooding in the country illegally. Now, both parties support this, but, you know, for various reasons, but specifically in California, you know, because they count the districts, and your representation is based on population size, not by citizenship. So it doesn't matter if you have a population of undocumented people. They'll say, oh, look at this country, look at this region, look at this state that has millions upon millions of people. So we can't have them underrepresented, because look at those people that they have there, and they need to serve the people because this is a democracy, right? But what people are they serving? They don't care. They don't care what bodies they're serving, as long as they're bodies, as long as they're human beings. So what does it even mean to be a citizen even more? Doesn't matter, because this is the United States, or some would say the United Snakes of America. So they've already sold you out a long time ago. People like myself, you know, 80s, 90s, 70s, 60s babies, they've considered you obsolete a long time ago. They're set their ire, their target and sights on your kids. I mean, which is why they're working so hard to indoctrinate your kids and raise your kids. So by the time your kids get your age, they've already been docile, buck broken, and offers no resistance. Plus, there won't be weapons of mass destruction. They'll bombard you with weapons of mass distraction. OnlyFans, all of these XXX sites, robot AI sex dolls, all sorts of drugs, fentanyl, perks, Xannies, etc. Multitudes, weapons of mass distraction.
Lawyers that's going to represent you. We got legal representation, the whole shebang. Now, the answer to the homelessness problem, we said, hey, we need resources for homelessness for the Black community. Karen Bass, ladies and gentlemen, the city of Los Angeles, she announced they got a $1 million grant that's going to Little Tokyo to help them support housing stability. They're helping Asians with homelessness, ladies and gentlemen. They always tell us, oh, we can't do nothing specifically for y'all. I ain't gonna do nothing that's only gonna benefit Black people.
And where are all of the Jewish lawyers like Ed Blum to come strike this down and say that this is DEI and this is how they get away with it? Because they add all of these other buzzwords. This is for low income, marginalized groups and people with disabilities and all of this other stuff. But hey, this is for people that are disabled. But hey, go get your check from the Asian people. Like, hold on. If this is for disabled people, why won't you give the money directly to disabled people? Oh, no, you got to go through the Asians to get it. Right. So that means it's up to the Asians' discretions at Little Tokyo Center on who gets it. And you already know. There's I think a movie called Last Man in San Francisco. Check that out. They've completely pushed all of the Black people out of San Francisco, right? It pretty much is an extension of China in many parts of San Francisco. America is not China. But the thing is, they see many in the Chinese community as the model minority whiz kids. So they don't really care if they take over American cities to become transplants to turn an American city as a microcosm of China back home. People are okay with that. People are okay with a Koreatown. Last time I checked, this isn't the United States of Korea. They're okay with a little Jamaica, a little Haiti, a little India, a little Bolivia, a little Brazil. They're okay with all of these little foreign transplant neighborhoods and states. But as soon as you try to say, you know what? We've been including all of these immigrants, all of these other ethnic and cultural groups into our mix. How about we just stand on business and appreciate and embrace us being foundational Black Americans? No, you don't know who you are and you don't know where you're from. You have to claim some distant place in Africa that you've never been. All my cousins is from New York. Your cousins is from Oklahoma and Alabama and Arizona and Texas. You don't got no cousins from Chad. You don't got no cousins from Sudan. You don't got no cousins from Niger, Burkina Faso, Senegal. But no, you're supposed to uplift the land that you've never been and probably will never go to, right? And when you try to lean in and say, you know what, I'm proud to be a Black American. Hey, fine. There should be more little Koreatowns. There should be more Chinatowns, but there should also be a foundational Black American town where we're able to uphold our ethnic and cultural sovereignty for our preservation, right? Suddenly that's reverse racism and xenophobia. But Chinese people in Chinatown, specifically barring Black people from having business there, that's not xenophobic. That's not hatred, right? Okay, this is what you've been convinced to accept.
Oh, ain't that what Kamala Harris said? Who's Asian? Got legal representation, the whole shebang. Now, the answer to the homelessness problem, we said, hey, we need resources for homelessness for the Black community. Karen Bass, ladies and gentlemen, the city of Los Angeles, she announced they got a $1 million grant that's going to Little Tokyo to help them support housing stability. They're helping Asians with homelessness, ladies and gentlemen. They always tell us, oh, we can't do nothing specifically for y'all. I ain't gonna do nothing that's only gonna benefit Black people. No, ain't that what Kamala Harris said? Who's Asian, who tries to do the sister girl thing, but she's Asian. Huh? They always tell us they can't do nothing that's only going to help us, but they always find a way to do something specifically for everybody damn else. We're cool on that. When we ask for targeted relief, reparative policy, direct intervention for a crisis that's harming our community, oh, the Democrats start explaining, oh,
Yeah, they start explaining to us and say, no, we can't do anything that only benefits you. And then they do something that only benefits Asians or only benefits Jewish people, right? So let me pull this up because I mentioned this earlier. So I want to show y'all this as well, right? Because we bring up the receipts as well, but y'all can do this, right? Nation's largest statewide immigrant legal defense program. California's $50 million fund is the nation's largest statewide immigrant legal defense program. They have no defense program like this that they hurried up and passed for U.S. citizens. They did do it for immigrants, for non-citizens. Guess why? Who's gonna pick the fruit? But you dropped a bunch of them off in Chicago. There's no fruit being picked in Chicago. You sent a bunch of people to Boston. There's no fruit being picked in Boston. So not only did California do this, New York and Chicago, other municipal programs have this, right? This is what I call exceptionalism. And of course, we've been joined by an illustrious guest, my boo, what it did do in the building. So let's get back into the video. So let me just pull this down real quick. And I'll pull that video right back up. And we back at it.
The law won't let us, the optics, the coalition. We have to help everybody. We got to lift all boats. Help us, but they always find a way to do something specifically for everybody damn else. We're cool on that. When we ask for targeted relief, reparative policy, direct intervention for a crisis that's harming our community, oh, the Democrats start explaining, oh, the law won't let us, the optics, the coalition. We have to help everybody. We got to lift all boats. And then you'll turn around and carve out targeted money for all these other groups with no hesitation. So you don't ever let them say what they can't do for a specific group. They always play that game with us, just like they did with the crime bill. They had hate crime protection for Asians that was wrapped up in that COVID bill that they kept trying to lie about. They kept like rolling in those people. These stupid fools talking about they talking about there was some a hate crime specifically for Asians. That's the lie, you stupid fool. That's for COVID. COVID relief. Man, when you look at that bill, it clearly denounced any type of discrimination or hate crimes against Asians. They were very, very specific about denouncing hate crimes against Asian people. That was an Asian hate crime bill. That's why they started arresting people immediately. If you got into an argument with an Asian person, they take.
There were some people who got arrested for saying, hey, if you don't like it here, then go back to your country. That was considered xenophobia. How many times have we been told, if you don't like it here, then go back to Africa? I've never been to Africa and probably never will go to Africa, right? I'm a foundational Black American. That's not considered xenophobia. They can say that all day to you, but let's pull up the receipts again. These aren't my numbers. They say numbers don't lie, but you can lie with numbers. Am I lying with numbers? The Stop Asian Hate campaign. There weren't these counter rallies. All hate matters. People weren't saying that. They were saying, stop Asian hate. Why are the big bad blacks attacking the Asians? And then you looked at the numbers, it's like, hold on, most of the attacks came from white dudes. Kung flu, a white dude came up with that. The China virus, a white dude came up with that. They looked into the numbers, it was mostly white dudes. They showed some videos. Yeah, what about in New York where these black dudes were beating up Asians? It's like, was dude really black though? Like, it was also, you know, New York is the mecca for immigrants. So any melanated face they call black, but that's also the land of I know black, Poppy. They got these black Dominicans out there. I know black. How you know it wasn't him? How you know it wasn't a Haitian, a Jamaican, someone from Senegal? They just saying, oh, well, they were black, therefore they were African American. It's like, huh? What does that mean? Zoran Mamdani is African American. Y'all see it on your screen, right? Why y'all begging the government? Stop asking for handouts. Did you tell that to the Stop Asian Hate campaign? Why were they asking for handouts, right? But no, why should they be paid? Because someone said, go back to your country. Now, I'm being facetious with this. I'm saying, fine, look, they were receiving hatred, vitriol, backlash. Instead of 110 million, they should have got 210 million. Hey, you know what? Throw an extra one on there. I believe they should have got more. But when I say I believe they should have got more, do you believe that when we were the leading victims of hate crime? Do you believe that the leading victims of hate crime should get this? If we're justifying 110 million to a Stop Asian Hate campaign, clearly we have to allocate more for the group who's received more hatred, right? Congress. This was Congress coming together. They don't come together on anything, but they did come together to give money to Asians who were victims of hate incidents. So they frame it as hate crimes. When you look in the legislation, they talk about hate incidents. And a hate incident is saying, hey, go back to China. So I just want to leave this up here for all of the people. Why are y'all begging? Why are y'all asking for reparations? Why are they asking for reparations? They tell you don't ask for reparations for someone being lynched or someone in your family being lynched, for you being racially targeted and profiled. Don't ask for reparations for that. However, pay out reparations for someone who said you got the Kung flu. Okay. Let's get back into the video and then I will be transitioning into a different topic.
Take you into federal custody. And it was really targeting black people. Out there in New York, the black girl got into an argument at a nail shop and the federal agents arrested her because she got into an argument with some Asians. And you got folks using the N-word and they're sitting up here talking about this free speech. That's why, family, if the Democrats talk to us at all, the first thing you got to come through is, or offer, along with tangibles, is a crime bill, a hate crime bill, specifically for us. It has to be specifically worded, not no vague catch-all. That ain't going to work. It has to be specific for us. There's no reason why they don't have that. We got to stop playing. There's absolutely no reason why the Democrats, especially them, can't have that. Yeah. And we're out here in LA. That's an insult. All the homeless black people out here. The homelessness is just ridiculous. And these people use black pain as a backdrop while they politically invest in everybody else. That's been their hustle. We become the moral wallpaper for the Democrat Party. You know, we stand in front and then they put their arm around us and say, oh, look at how we suffered. we've been treated wrong as a minority group. These people ain't got no legitimate grievance. That's why they have to stand to us and siphon off our civil rights legacy and then use it to monetize things for themselves. So we have to stop letting these people tether on to our damn ancestry and history. You see?
Yeah, I concur. And I'm going to go ahead and pivot to the next story. We do have to let people stop tethering onto our lineage, our cultural achievements and accomplishments, right? It's okay if we can come together, but we can't come together under false pretenses, right? We can't come together based on a lie. Many of these people come from anti-Black communities. You as an individual may not be anti-Black, but your hesitance or your refusal to call out the anti-Blackness in your community, how far could we really progress as a collective or as a coterie, right? If y'all talk about accountability, but you won't even hold your own community accountable. Every day you see niggas on here whining about the Black community needs to do this, the Black community needs to do that, right? There's an overcorrection, an over level of accountability and scrutiny when it comes to the Black community. However, with these other communities, no, people are not really scrutinizing their community and the faults in their community. We're not a perfect community. We get told that every day. We're the bottom rung of society, low IQ, degenerate, thuggish monkeys and all this stuff. Fine, you know what? We got to hold that. But what do y'all got to hold? You guys aren't perfect little angels who are infallible, right? So since you are flawed, hey, let's kind of, unpack some of those flaws, right? So we can turn those flaws into, something that's useful and beneficial to the collective society. Ain't that what they say about Black people, right? They just want us to act better and, not be as rambunctious. Let's just use that word. But I'm going to go ahead and pivot to this one because as y'all can see, war isn't wonderful. Now, it is wonderful for these corporations because they get to line their pockets. They get to control the narrative. It's distracted you from the Epstein Epi PDF files. No one is even talking about that anymore. They're still talking about George Floyd, BLM. What about Chicago? What about Oakland? No, what about those Epi pedophiles, right? Oh, nothing to see here, right? Whose culture is that, right? A nigga in the hood did a drive-by. Who raised them? Okay, fine. Let's find out who raised that musty, crusty nigga that did a drive-by. And after we find out who raised him, I'm a double back. Who raised the people in the Epi pedophiles, right? Because Epstein was a vile anti-Black bigot. He didn't want any niggers around. Fine. It was no niggers around. So it was just a bunch of white people, right? So who raised those white people? Were they a product of a fatherless home? Or were they raised with two parents in there with a silver spoon in their mouth? No one knows, but aren't these fair and legitimate questions to ask about the most notorious pedo ring that we've ever known? Okay, let's get into it. And this video is on CNN. Some would call the Clown News Network or the Caucasian News Network. This is titled Trump Says Iran's Karg Island Bombed, U.S. deploying up to 2,500 to the Mideast, right? So do you think that people like Barron Trump will be deployed? Do you think if Jeff Bezos or any of these oligarchs, they have kids, do you think their kids will be deployed? And you're supposed to go over there and fight this war for Israel. And then we're supposed to praise our soldiers and say, thank you for your service. Why am I thanking you for your service when you're over there killing innocent people on behalf of Israel? Thank you for your service to Israel. Nah, I'm good. Right. We've been indoctrinated to think, okay, soldiers are just following orders, right? When they say this is a white Christian nation, well, Christianity talks about idolatry, right? And we're not supposed to be idolizing presidents, and we're not supposed to be idolizing soldiers. I believe there are very hardworking people who should be commended, who should be commemorated and celebrated for their bravery and courage to go over there and fight these pointless and idiotic wars. Right? However, if somebody is over there slaughtering, for instance, someone who, with the flick of a button, slaughtered hundreds of schoolgirls in the name of protecting American interests, am I supposed to say thank you for your service? Right? That's the dude who flicked the switch to kill the schoolgirls. Like, why am I thanking him for that? Right? But you're not supposed to have these conversations. You're supposed to just have blind allegiance to the military industrial complex, right? But no, I'm a human being and a humanitarian, right? Of course, I'm America first, but that doesn't mean it's at the expense of seeing innocent people slaughtered for a war that we have no business meddling in.
Just minutes ago, the president saying the U.S. military, quote, totally obliterated every military target in Iran's crown jewel, Karg Island. The president just speaking. What did he say?
Well, before we get to what he said, I do want to go to this breaking news because moments after he spoke, he talked about Karg Island. And this is really a big deal. I mean, 90% of Iran's oil exports go through Karg Island. There had been questions as to why the United States or Israel had not bombed Karg Island, particularly given its economic strength for Iran. It is a place, it is kind of a sensitive area, and it's clearly something that the U.S. could have targeted. President Trump had been asked questions about this. He kind of evaded the answer earlier today. Now, here's what he said. Because there is so much oil infrastructure in this area, he specifically says, I have chosen not to wipe out the oil infrastructure on the island. However, should Iran or anyone else do anything to interfere with the free and safe passage of ships through the Strait of Hormuz, I will immediately reconsider this decision. There is a reason why this is so important. Earlier today, I was talking to White House officials. They said there was going to be actions as early as this weekend, as early as this evening, that were going to show how the U.S. was working towards trying to get these ships through the Strait of Hormuz, getting the Strait of Hormuz opened again. That is clearly what they were referring to, was these explosions in Karg Island, a place that had seemed like it was going to be off limits. Clearly here he is saying, open up the Strait of Hormuz or else you're going to see more bombs dropping and more strikes in the area. Now, we did also hear from President Trump just seconds before he sent that Truth Social post saying that those Navy escorts were going to start happening soon. I was told by White House officials they were going to have to clear that area. They have to make sure it was safe for the military, that they were going to have to get the resources there. But he did say the word soon. And one of the more interesting things we heard him say is that he has officially taken any sort of timeline off the table. He was asked specifically about his 4 to 5 weeks comments, and he said that he couldn't give a timeline anymore. So I know that we had been reporting that the administration had been saying this, but this is, Donald Trump here officially saying that 4 to 5 week timeline is off the table, and instead replacing it with a big question mark.
Talk to us about the significance of this moment and that threat, too, that Kristen told us about, of the president basically saying, hey, I left a little bit in terms of oil infrastructure, but if you don't do what I say, we'll come back.
So, Erica, Karg Island, you see it on the map there. It's about 25 miles off the coast of Iran, very northern part of the Gulf. It is the valve for Iran's oil economy. And of course, they're almost wholly dependent on their oil economy for their own government revenues. The Gulf is very shallow, and Karg Island, that small island there, it's about 8 by 9 square miles. It has the deep water ports where tankers can pull in, get filled up, and then go through the Strait of Hormuz and onward to where they might delivering their oil. Of course, Iranian oil is illicit oil. It's under U.S. sanctions. But that is basically, without those terminals and without that island being operational, Iran cannot export its oil. And that's why it's so significant. I take this as the U.S. saying, okay, you guys are trying to use this pressure point, which the new Supreme Leader declared it yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz. We have pressure points too on you. So, knock this off. That's what they're trying to say. Mm-hmm. But I also see, Erica, with the deployment of a U.S. Marine Force.
All right, so I'm going to transition into another video because, of course, this is CNN. So you're going to hear a litany of corporate stooges coming in, many of them saying the same thing. But except for Marjorie Taylor Greene. So she is kind of defecting from MAGA, and she was one of the unsung MAGA princesses. And shout out to Z Sarah and all of my fam in the UK. Cheerio in building. So let me get into this video. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene being interviewed by CNN's Caitlin Collins. This one is Marjorie Taylor Greene calls on Vance Gabbard to speak against war. Where the hell is Tulsi Gabbard? Remember, Tulsi Gabbard had this presidential run and she was supposed to be an anti-war candidate. Now she's turned into a MAGA shill and corporate bootlicker. Tulsi, where the F are you? Let's get into it.
There's so much to talk about tonight with all the developments in Iran. I think first, though, on the 13 service members that have now been killed during Operation Epic Fury, I wonder what goes through your mind when you think of those lives that have been lost already.
Oh, it's absolutely heartbreaking, Caitlin. I'm a strong supporter of our military and the great men and women who serve. I think they're some of the greatest among us, and their families who are so concerned about them right now. These are 13 lives that I believe should not have been lost. This war is not something that Americans voted for in 2024. As a matter of fact, we voted for the opposite. We voted for no more foreign wars, no more regime change. And we were told by many members in the administration throughout the campaign, J.D. Vance, Tulsi Gabbard, and others, that they believed that going to war with Iran would be a terrible idea. It was something that Charlie Kirk himself had said over and over again. And Donald Trump, President Trump, I voted for him 3 times, fought for him to become president, and I still want him to be successful. But he told Americans for over 10 years and even longer that he thought foreign wars and regime change was really a bad direction for America to go in. And we trusted and believed him that we wouldn't be doing this. But this was an unprovoked war, and Israel pulled us into it, pulled America into it. And so those are 13 lives that should not have been lost.
Yeah, and of course, when the president was asked about that, he argued that maybe he forced Israel's hand in this matter. But I mean, now here we are 13 days in. He's planning on sending more troops to the region, we're told. It's not clear exactly what they'll do while they're there, a Marine group. Is that something you support?
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I like many millions and millions of Americans are outraged by this. He never came to America and addressed the nation and gave clear reasons why we would go to war with Iran, especially after he told us back in the summer that he had completely obliterated all of their nuclear capabilities and had even chastised any news organization or media that said otherwise. But here we are in a war with Iran.
And of course, I have to pause the video and give some commentary just so I don't get a copyright strike. But yeah, I'm getting so sick of the pathetic lies of Trump. Now, I didn't vote for Trump or Biden because both parties are the same. 2 cheeks on the same booty, 2 fangs on the same viper. Yes, they will play good cop, bad cop to pretend that they're vehemently against each other on certain cultural war issues. But when it's time for the rubber to meet the road, and they want to advance a legislation or an agenda that suits them, their donors are comfortable with, then they come together, i.e. something for Israel. There's always a general consensus that whatever you put forth for Israel and anti-Semitism is going to pass with flying colors. You put something through for Asians, it's going to pass. You know what I mean? Even most of the things with immigrants have passed up until recently, and many of them will pass. They just want certain little tweaks, like here we'll pass it, but just take out this 1 or 2 poison pills, and then they fight for weeks on the Senate and congressional floor to pretend as if they fighting for you, right? You have people like Cory Booker standing up to get their Spartacus moment. Cory Booker going on a 24-hour filibuster, but what really came out of that, right? Is anyone seriously considering Cory Booker for president? No, you know what I mean? But they're trying to manufacture that these people are the ones that you should be looking after, right? And Trump is just a pathetic bootlick and buck-broken stooge of Bibi Netanyahu. He does whatever Bibi wants him to do. And he is on the record lying, saying we've destroyed all of their nuclear capacity. Hey, we had to bomb Iran because they were going to take over the Middle East. How are they going to take over the Middle East when you said you've destroyed their capacity and you assassinated their supreme leader? So you assassinated their supreme leader and allegedly 50 of the top guys next in line. Then you also assassinated a bunch of nuclear physicists and scientists, right? And then you said, no, but they were days away from a nuclear bomb. How? You bombed their facilities, allegedly. You killed all of their scientists and all of the leaders who would be pivotal to ensure that there was some sort of nuclear holocaust, is what you guys are afraid of. So all of this double speaking, and then you got goofy people over here. No, we have to stop or they're going to bomb California. Huh? Iran hasn't even laid waste to Tel Aviv, but you think that they would target California before Tel Aviv? The shit doesn't even make any sense, bro.
And it doesn't make any sense. And I'll go further with this. Why are we sending thousands of more U.S. military troops? Why are we sending more of our military resources? Why are we pulling military resources away from other sectors of the world where it's much needed and putting it all there to fight Iran and to have this war in the Middle East? And the reality is, there are so many innocent people dying. I mean, the little girl's school is such an outrage. It's horrific. And Americans, we don't want to think of our military as being responsible of killing little children. This is absolutely something that Americans should not tolerate. And we are owed answers. They keep saying that they're investigating, but it is such a serious situation. You know, I drove by an elementary school today, and there were children out on the playground, swinging on the swings and playing on the playground. And I thought to myself, I'm so thankful that our children are safe, but I can't imagine living somewhere where school children or people's children have been bombed or killed. And this is something that has so many people outraged, because I'll go back, Caitlin, we did not vote for this. We voted for an end to foreign wars, and that's exactly what we should be seeing.
On the school, so you don't think that their answers so far have been sufficient on who's responsible for that, given the evidence that points to the United States?
You know, I don't want to ever think about our military doing something like that or making that type of mistake or however it happened. But everyone has seen the video. Everyone has seen the still shot of the Tomahawk missile. So no, I think they need to come out and talk about it. There's so many things that are so concerning about this war, and Americans have not been given enough answers. Here we are. Here's Americans at home right now.
And what of many of the bigoted buffoons in this country like to say? The black community has an accountability problem. Okay. Who was taken accountable? Who is being held accountable for slaughtering close to 200 children, mostly little girls? And all they have to say is, oops, my bad. And it was a necessary collateral damage to get the bad guys. But they won't say what bad guys they got. Just trust me, bro. Yeah, we slaughtered close to 200 little girls, but hey, we killed one bad guy in the process. Who's being held accountable for that? Whose culture is this, right? There will be one crusty, musty, dusty nigga from Oakland or St. Louis that commits a heinous crime. And guess what? That dusty nigga gets locked up and gets football numbers. He's being held accountable. You do the crime, you do the time. Well, he did the crime and he's doing the time. And still they'll say, Black people, you need to hold him accountable. How the fuck am I hold this nigga accountable any more accountable than he's already been held? He's locked up. The dude may be locked up for life. So you think I should get on a podcast and say what? Right? He's already been held accountable. Who will be held accountable for the slaughter of close to 200 little girls? Right? What is worse? One nigga that did a heinous crime is being locked up, but now the whole black community has to answer for it? Or someone in the military who probably was non-black, right, slaughtering hundreds of girls. The likelihood of them being non-black, right, the odds are pretty favorable, right? Should I put that on that person's culture, that individual's culture? No, you have to look at them as an individual. That's not what you do with the black community, right? So we're supposed to be worried about some random poor gangbanger who's a jailbird being locked up, being held accountable by the justice or the injustice system. But no one will be held accountable for the slaughter of these little girls. And then they'll turn around and put a Bible in front of your face and tell you that they're pro-life. Whose culture is this?
Now, we've got families getting ready to go on spring break and gas prices are skyrocketing. Inflation has barely stabilized and people voted for lower grocery costs. Well, we're going to
salute to the hood table and all my corn huskers and Nebraska family out there.
to see costs at the grocery stores going up because diesel is going up and oil is going up because of this war. We've got 30% of the world's fertilizer goes through the strait. That affects our farmers that are struggling already. We voted to put Americans first. I'm a conservative. I'm the America First wing of the Republican Party. That's how I voted. That's what I fight for. That's what I want to see happen. I want to see Americans put first. And we've got the Republicans in Congress right now. They can't even fund Homeland Security. Our own Border Patrol, ICE, TSA agents, and others are not even getting paid. But yet here they are told that they're going to be voting and they'll vote for it. Believe me, they love the war. The neocons love the war. They're going to pass a supplemental to fund the war in Iran. What is that going to be? $50 billion or more, while the war is costing us approximately 1 to 2.
Y'all know the famous Pac line? They got money for war, but can't feed the poor. So they always tell you, no, we can't do reparations. We can't do anything. We can specifically racially target you to deprive and disenfranchise you. However, we can't specifically racially target you to enrich you. However, we can do it for other racial groups and non-citizens because the entire country gets on board with that, right?
$2 billion a day, but yet we're not even funding Homeland Security and Americans are still struggling. And Caitlin, I got to tell you, I'm still waiting on Mike Johnson to roll out that Republican health care plan that he boasted and bragged that he was going to have, because Americans can't even afford health insurance right now.
And she said Americans can't afford health insurance. Well, health insurance is not health care, but got you, right? So the Republicans who are supposed to be making America great again and America first, they don't have any America first healthcare plan. They always say Israel is our greatest ally. Okay, fine, they're our greatest ally. I want to mimic our greatest ally and be great just like our ally. So therefore, we should have universal health care just like Israel has, right? No, that's socialism. Hold on. Israel isn't a socialist utopia. So it's okay for Israel to have universal health care. It's okay for Denmark and whatever other Nordic country to have free health care by investing in their citizens, right? Because the most important resource is a human resource. Except in America, they see humans as an expendable resource. And once they've done with you and consider you obsolete, then they want to replace you with a undocumented immigrant and or a AI robot, right? In the name of capitalism and techno-feudalism.
Yeah, I think you said that this is not what the president's supporters voted for. I mean, you're someone who campaigned for him endlessly on the campaign trail. You know what those voters wanted. And when you talk about just gas prices, they're up 74 cents almost per gallon in Georgia in the last month. The administration said today they have a plan when it comes to the.
Okay, so I want to do an experiment where all the people, some of the people in the chat, let me know where y'all from. Because she said gas is up 74% in Georgia. So I want to see how much gas is where y'all at. Let me know where y'all at. So let me see. Let's look up gas prices in, let's just say Atlanta. Okay, so let's see. So I'm gonna pull this up for y'all. Give me uno momento. So y'all let me know where y'all from in the chat. I know the hood table is in Nebraska. Where you at in Nebraska, the hood table? The last call, I ain't even gonna ask the last call. The last call is somewhere in some undisclosed location in America, perhaps. Like, is bro even in America? Who knows? And shout out to Z Sarah. How much is gas out there? Probably you don't even need a car out there, Z Sarah, right? So let's pull this up. And y'all always can go on Gas Buddy. My buddy. Go on Gas Buddy. Yikers Island, huh? Gas in Atlanta? Let's see. Could y'all see this on the screen? Oh, hold on. Let me pull this down. Let's see what it's looking like. Texaco, Exxon, 279, 299, 309, 308. Okay, 309. This is Duluth, Norcross, Conyers, Locust Grove, Covington, Atlanta, Decatur, Marietta, Sewanee, Griffin. All right, these are the prices of gas out there. Now let's see how much. Let's say San Francisco. Let's see how much gas is in San Francisco. 469, 479, 485. And this is in Newark. This is in Redwood City, Hayward, Alameda, Mill Valley, Fremont. So the cheapest gas appears to be $4.69. And that's in Fremont. In Antioch is $4.79. Okay, let's see LA. Oh, hold on. So it says Texas lowest gas is $2.37. On average, it's about $3.38, right? So yeah, y'all see the difference in prices. Oops, I meant to put Oakland, but hold up. Hold up. Yeah, so it's not showing me anymore, but y'all get the gist, right? So yeah, that's a big difference. Okay, so give me one moment and I'm gonna go ahead and pivot to this other video. Give me 1 second. Just give me uno momento. Actually, I just need like 30 seconds. So
Yeah, look at him now. Came up from the mud, now there ain't no dirt under his shoes. No dirt under his shoes. Ascended to the top, yeah, he's really that dude. He's really that dude. He's really that dude. Ascended to the.
okay, we're back. So I'm gonna react to this video from the Young Turks Cenk Uygur, who I call Chunky Yogurt. But this video was titled, "Where the F Are the Democrats?" Now, I can't, this is about 24 minutes long. So if you want to watch it uninterrupted, it's on the TYT channel. I'm not going to listen to all of this because it's kind of hard to listen to Cenk for that long. But let's hear what he has to say.
I have one simple question for you guys. Where the fuck are Democrats? So the grassroots hates this war. The American people hates this war. Democratic voters absolutely despise this war. And we can't find a Democratic leader anywhere in media to oppose the war. Where the fuck are they? Where's Chuck Schumer? Where's Hakeem Jeffries? Counting their cash from AIPAC. Guys, look, man, dealing in American politics and media is one giant torturous gaslighting experience. So Democrats are like, oh, we're against the war, but we're going to whisper it in a corner. And then they take tons, like literally millions of dollars from the Israeli lobby, and they don't do any opposition, right? And the media goes, I don't see it. In fact, if you report those facts, you're an anti-Semite. All right, it's maddening. It's maddening. If you don't live in that world, you don't understand why the Democrats are hiding. So there's half the Democrats, more than half, 3/4 of the Democrats actually love this war and want this war because they got bribed by the Israeli lobby. So when you go to say to them, hey, are you against? Oh, of course I'm against the war. I can't believe Trump started it. I'm anti-Trump. And then they go scurrying into a corner. Well, why don't you get on TV and fight against it? Why don't you go on the podcast? Why don't you go on radio? Why don't you do something? Why don't you vote against the war? Why don't you vote against funding the war? Say there's no way in the world we're going to fund this war. Instead, when asked, they go, well, of course, we'll fund the war. But we're opposed, right? And then they stuff more AIPAC money into their mouths. Okay, and the media sees this live in action and goes, no, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. And so, okay, and I get it. Schumer, Jeffries, 3/4 of the Democratic Party, totally corrupt, totally work for any lobby that'll bribe them. Okay, so, oh, yes, oh, here's Big Pharma. Oh, golly, gee, I don't know how to negotiate drug prices. Oh, I am against Big Pharma. Stuff the money into their mouths and then go, we'll never change it when we're in charge. Don't worry, Big Pharma. We're a bunch of giant liars who'll tell everybody that we're,
Okay, so shout out to Roger. Nassau County is $2.56 a gallon 2 months ago. Now is $3.50, and it looks like Hump-A-Lot, salute to Hump-A-Lot, that's a heck of a name, says New York is $3.29. And shout out to Z Sarah. She says she's in Lakefield, United Kingdom. And I figured you lived near a city center. Most of the times, I know in many places in the UK and other parts of the globe, the country or certain cities are set up to where you don't really need a car. You can get many places by walking, riding bikes, public transportation. Now they have these electric vehicles as well. So that's why some nations, people are healthier as well, less polluted air. More people are incentivized and actually forced to walk so that people won't be as obese. So she says it's 149 pounds a liter, which equates to $7.15 a gallon in dollars, right? So that sounds like prices in some places in California. Most of the places I've seen, like the Chevrons, the Shells, those places are like $6 and up, and the low prices are about $4.99. So she says this war is going to make regular people suffer financially, and the 1% will profit and line their pockets. Everything is a grift and a money grab. I would concur, which is why they are trying to convince you that the war is a kitchen table issue for you, and you're supposed to crash out for Israel because of the chosen people. So they're telling you to deal with a little bit of pain at the pump because you're helping the chosen people of Israel and you don't want to go against the biblical scriptures, right? And Iran is the leader of state-sponsored terrorism. These are the buzzwords and bumper sticker propaganda that's given to you so that you're desensitized to and become a warmonger yourself, even though it doesn't benefit you. So you put, I was buffering, so I was behind your ask. I had to fast forward. Yeah, I was wondering where you're at, Roger. I thought you had bailed on me, but at least you had asked. I'm surprised. That's at 256 out there was fairly cheap. But she says our gas prices have soared since this war. Yeah, it's a global crisis. So let's get back into the video. I'm gonna play a little bit more of this video before I transition.
Want to curb drug prices, and we get the stupid liars in the media to pretend that that's actually our policy. Then we'll take millions of dollars in bribes from you guys and secretly serve you. So when Biden and Obama are in office, oh golly gee, we just couldn't find a way to negotiate drug prices. Oh my God, are we still giving tens of billions of dollars in subsidies to oil companies? Oh, I bet the millions we took from them in campaign contributions have nothing to do with it. Hey, idiots in media that we 100% control. Get out there and tell them that we're against the oil companies, against the defense contractors, Big Pharma, and Israel, or Israel's wars. When in reality, we're going to maintain that system, even if we have the White House, the House, and the Senate. Look, you want me to be mad at Republicans? That's easy, man. So 99% of the, now maybe 98% of the Republican Party is corrupt. Tom Massey isn't, even if you disagree with him, he isn't corrupt at all. Rand Paul is fighting against this war. Look, guys, it's humiliating. Tucker Carlson is fighting against this war more than any of the Democratic leaders are. So, okay, but my biggest frustration and anger is reserved for the so-called progressives in Congress. Where are you guys? Where's the squad? Okay, where are you guys? Where's the progressive caucus? Nowhere to be found. I can't even see Bernie. I don't see anybody fighting against. There's only Ro Khanna. And then they're going to tell us later, oh, no, you should vote for other people who secretly.
And that's just a shameless plug for Ro Khanna because he wants Ro Khanna to run for president 2028. He's pushing for Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey to do this reach across the aisle run. But how is Ro Khanna fighting? See, in this political kooky paradigm, right? They think that fighting just simply means going on some podcast and vaguely or tepidly calling out someone else of the establishment. No, since no one else is calling out the establishment, you have to give an exorbitant level of praise to someone who has the cojones to call out the establishment. Like, nah, bruh. Ro Khanna, well, like, what is he really saying? Right? Does anyone believe that Ro Khanna is fighting for the little guy? The dude is a Silicon Valley silver spoon baby. Fine, there's nothing wrong with being born with a silver spoon and having an immigrant background. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just completely fine. But to pretend as if you have the same experiences as people, it's like, no, bro, you don't. You went to a private school, like you were around wealth your entire life. You were around the upper echelon of society. But these are the people that are purporting to speak for the working class. So can anyone name one thing that Ro Khanna has done to fight for you? He stood up for you rhetorically, right? We're done hearing stump speeches. Stump speeches are political theater in symbolic rhetorical gestures. They're not tangible. So that, okay, fine. Standing up for people and fighting for people, part of it is rhetorical, right? But rhetoric is not tangible. Rhetoric can lead to tangibles, but just rhetoric alone is not tangibles. So here you have Jank caping for his buddy Ro Khanna, saying Ro Khanna is the only one fighting. How? By tweeting mean words instead of a strongly worded letter. They have strongly worded tweets, and that's considered fighting. Okay.
There was a progressive caucus, nowhere to be found. I can't even see Bernie. I don't see anybody fighting against. There's only Ro Khanna. There's only Ro Khanna. And then they're going to tell us later, oh, no, you should vote for other people who secretly thought the war was a really bad idea, but didn't do anything about it. Didn't vote that way, didn't fight that way, didn't go on media, didn't make the case against war. Oh, but they had one tweet once in the midst of this giant, disastrous war. Instead of screaming their heads off, instead of calmly, coolly, strategically making sure the war is not funded, they did bupkis. They did zero. And later they'll lie to you and go, oh, they were heroes. And no, meanwhile, Tucker Carlson's outflanking us on the anti-war position. What if Tucker runs for president? And let's say it's Tucker versus AOC. AOC is going to say what? She was more anti-war than Tucker was? I would love for her to be more anti-war than Tucker. And good news, guys. I'm happy to be.
Now here he's trying to manufacture consent and throw Tucker Carlson's name out there as if he's a serious presidential candidate. Okay, like which one of you guys would vote for Tucker Carlson? What are his policies? Jank doesn't care. It's just, well, he's popular as a media personality. You don't know what his policies are, right? You know that he's allegedly America first. He does have bigoted views towards blacks, which he's tried to walk back without actually walking back. So let's just say, Tucker Carlson did run for president. Fine, right? Why would you vote for him again? I mean, I'm sure he would be better than Marco Rubio or Ron DeSantis or Vivek Ramaswamy. I'm sure he would be better than them. He probably would be better than Gavin Newsom. But I'm just saying, what has Tucker really done to qualify him to run for president? Now, I know that's a loaded question, considering you have people like Trump who could win 2 terms and he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, right? But, and I would think that Tucker is smarter than Trump, but what are his qualifications? That he's a media pundit and a Nepo baby, right? And you're supposed to pretend that these people can connect to the working class, right? Have you ever had to sleep for dinner? Let me say that again. Have you ever had to eat sleep for dinner? Most people can't even fathom that. Most people don't know what it's like to where you got to turn on the oven and open it up and use the oven as a heater, right? Or you don't have a heater, so you got to put on 3 pairs of pants, 2 sweaters, and a triple down fat goose jacket just to warm up in your house. Do you think Tucker Carlson has ever lived like that? Or Elon? Or Ron DeSantis? Right? But these are the people that's supposed to speak to you. You're supposed to be led by someone and be relating to someone that can't relate to your struggle or your upbringing. You can't relate to their upbringing, but you're like, yeah, man, they have a lot of money. They got a lot of money by stepping on people like you and exploiting people like you. But you see it as, hey, maybe one day I'll get to their level and I'll get to step on some people too. You know what I mean? Willing to sell yourself out for the almighty dollar. Because like me and my bro John talk about, for many people, money is their God. The paper money, which is not real. It's a promissory note. I'm promising you that it will be real. And you're selling your soul for that.
International disaster.
So this video is going to be a segment from a Redacted show. And this is Clayton Morris. He's issuing an emergency warning about some of the cons and some of the nuances that this war has started. This video has been edited by Anonymous Official. It's about 18 minutes. I started it in probably about 10 minutes in. But if you want to watch the full video uninterrupted, that's where you can watch it at Anonymous Official channel. So let me play some of this and then I'm going to transition and then I'll get ready to shut her down.
After a World War III by all accounts. Analysts right now seeing national gasoline moving towards roughly $3.50 a gallon, up to $3.70 if these disruptions persist over the next week. So that is how this war starts showing up in the family budget real fast. And then you have like Fox Business announcing U.S. economy has lost 92,000 jobs in February.
We're back with a Fox News alert. It's a business one. Moments ago, brand new job numbers revealed. The U.S. economy did not add jobs. They lost 92,000 jobs in February, a steep drop from expectations. Unemployment also ticked up slightly to 4.4%.
Now, the Labor Department tried to soften all of that by saying oh, it's strike activity. There was some striking and there was winter weather, seasonal and post-Christmas. No. It's not seasonal. It's not post-Christmas. Some of those things mattered a little bit. The real problem is the timing of all of this. You got a weaker labor market. Then you layer a war-driven energy shock on top of it. That's exactly how you revive stagflation fears. And the markets are already reacting to that because global bond markets just had one of the worst weeks in months. Traders are now worrying that this war, energy, inflation crisis is going to keep central banks more hawkish for a long time. I think we heard from the Cleveland Fed president saying that we need to now shift this policy to stay on hold for quite some time. And basically future rate cuts are already sliding now as markets are bracing for energy costs to bleed into this inflation data. So that matters not because war is not making things more expensive. It may also keep borrowing costs much, much higher. So when I say energy is the center of the story, this is what I mean. Higher oil doesn't just stay in oil. It moves into trucking, it moves into food, it moves into airfare, it moves into home building, real estate, everything. It moves into appliances, moves into freight, moves into fertilizer. Fertilizer is a big piece of this. Moves into utility bills, it moves into everything. Everything that has to be grown, moved, cooled, heated, packaged, delivered, all of it. It's not a theory. Companies are already warning about rising costs across supply chains.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello. Air and sea corridors through the Gulf have already been dramatically disrupted. And here's the angle that almost no one in mainstream TV is really hammering. Because if you watched Fox News Weekend, oh my God, there was a clip that went viral this weekend where Fox News Weekend hosts in the morning were basically coming out talking about how we've already beaten Iran. Iran has already lost. Here are all the ways in which we're winning.
So there's that angle as well, which is very interesting. So to me, this already looks like victory. And so I say, let's declare victory very quickly.
So we've already won. Let's just end this thing now. We've already won. Just go home. There's no regime change. There's no unconditional surrender, which is how Trump said this thing would end, unconditional surrender. So it's about survival infrastructure right now. That's really at the heart of this. Bahrain accusing Iran of damaging a desalination plant. That matters because the Gulf does not just run on oil, it runs on desalinated water. That region depends heavily on a small number of exposed desalination facilities. Without that, they have no drinking water and basically daily life. And there are reports in Dubai that they have about 7 days of fresh food left. So now the battlefield is not just tankers and refineries, it's water, it's fresh food. You built a whole civilization right in the middle of the desert.
So this is the thing, Jank, Jimmy Dore, who Jimmy Dore blocked me. Jimmy Dore blocked me because, see, when I call people out, I don't do the blims. I tag them and I give them a piece of my mind. And sometimes it's done in colorful language, right? But I'm sure Jimmy Dore would call people who get triggered off a word snowflakes, yet Jimmy Snowflake Door blocked me, right? Chunky yogurt, right? All of these people are the same. Chank was no different than Charlie Kirk. Jimmy is no different than Tim Pool, right? Kyle Kalinske is no different than Benny Johnson, right? They pretend to be different based on cultural issues, and maybe they clash with each other, but ask them about specific targeted economic justice for Black people, and they all sound the same, right? And these people are supposed to be the home of the progressives, right? But what have they organized people to do? They've organized people to vote blue no matter who. And now they're trying to organize people to do what, right? We're trying to organize people to be anti-war. Okay, how will you be anti-war? By voting Democrat. So first you're trying to pretend as if you're against the Democrat establishment and you want to smash the duopoly. Okay, fine. You've inspired me to galvanize the troops, right? So now I got all these troops galvanized. And then what do they tell you to do? Vote for the establishment, the same establishment that they were railing against, i.e. Bernie Sanders. We are going against the establishment, right? When's the last time y'all even heard Bernie Sanders say the word establishment? In 2016, that's all you couldn't hear that. Every other word, it was establishment, establishment, establishment. I thought establishment was Bernie's middle name. Now he barely says it. He's associated establishment with oligarchy. We got to stop the oligarchy. But he's only talking about the right wing oligarchs, not the left wing or the Democratic wing oligarchs. So Bernie is a phony. Jank and Jimmy Dore are phonies as well. And people get caught up in, they make good content, or they've called out somebody that you don't like, right? Or they've had someone on that you think, they had this smaller creator on, so they're for the little guy. No, they have people on that they have a connection with. That's not them reaching out to the grassroots or anything like that. Would these people hold a Twitter space and just let random people come up? Would they drop the link on their chat and just have random people call up? I'm sure they've done it before. Why they stopped doing it, right? But my whole thing is, why do these people never talk? And I'm being facetious and rhetorical because I know why, right? These people are tools of the establishment. They get paid by corporations, so they're not going to really do anything to fully upset the apple cart. They will do things to create animosity and tension, but it's all political theater. Housing will be defined as, and it can't be higher than 25% of what one earns in a month working minimum wage. CA Public Bank, CA Government high-speed broadband for low or no cost. Yeah, but like you said, what have these people actually organized? Why won't they talk about mutual aid, right? Fine. Y'all can try to organize and whip votes for the Democrats, but for the people who are abstaining from voting, why aren't they talking about alternative means of building political and socioeconomic power? They don't care. They rail against the establishment to only puppeteer and lead you back to the same establishment that they have all of the vitriol for. How contradictory and pathetic could you be?
So this Strait of Hormuz story is much, much bigger. People keep treating it like it's a simple commodity chart. It's not. It's a, it's a major systems story, if we're honest. If Hormuz locks up, it's not just crude that gets trapped. Insurance gets more expensive. Shipping freezes. All these strategic reserves come into play. Aid routes get hit. Water systems are totally vulnerable. Things that we need for supply, for parts, for machinery, for medicine. So this is getting bigger by the hour. And if you watch the supply chains and if you watch the shipping, like forget the Fox News bluster, forget what the White House is saying, forget what Israel is saying, forget any of like the press reporting on this. Just look at the shipping. Just look at what the governments are doing. Japan, reportedly instructed a national oil reserve site to prepare for a possible crude release because they don't have enough oil coming into Japan. Japan depends on Middle East oil for about 95% of its crude oil. 70% normally moves right through the Strait of Hormuz. Japan is already being crushed economically.
The one who dies with the most toys wins.
Look at this amazing demonstration.
And now they're going to have to start dusting off these strategic petroleum oil reserves because things are fine. You don't dust off your strategic oil reserves if things are fine. And of course, remember under Biden, we basically exhausted our strategic oil reserves. Now the US has already, started taking another extraordinary step that tells you how bad the commercial risk has gotten. New reports out from Washington saying that they will provide reinsurance for this maritime losses in the Gulf up to 20 billion after private insurers, of course, backed out shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. So think about what that means. U.S. government now is stepping in as an insurance backstop because the private market is telling you the risk is too high. That's not normal commerce. That is wartime economic triage. And by the way, what ships are going to say, oh, well, our normal insurance providers are not going to cover this, so the U.S. government says they will cover it. All right, full steam ahead. Never mind, our crew of 30 people could be blown up and go down with the ship. Who cares? What companies are going to greenlight their ships going and being destroyed? So right now, the conflict has already cut global air cargo capacity by 22%. Goods from like fresh produce to pharmaceuticals to airplane parts are getting stuck. 1/3 of global trade by value moves through the air. And then spot freight rates are already climbing in a number of key routes. So again, this is why this isn't just about oil.
If you enjoyed today's video on Anonymous Official, leave a like.
Okay, so I have one more video I'm gonna play unless I get an influx of people and y'all want me to continue. I may come back later and hit y'all with an unexpected doubleheader, but before I do that, before I pull up this next video, give me about 30 seconds to pull this video up.
You ain't know? That's just B-Eazy, B-Eazy that dude. B-Eazy, he is that dude. Ooh, B-Eazy that dude,
Ooh, Be-Eazy. He's styling and profiling, fresher than a mannequin.
Hey, yo, who's that? Mama, there go that man again.
He the one who get the block booming and make the trap move. I'm still trying to figure out who is that dude.
Oh, you ain't know?
That's just Be-Eazy, Be-Eazy that dude. Be-Eazy, he is that dude, so you gotta let him cook. He be going dumb off the hook, got all them haters shook. He a king, you a rook, so don't ever start tripping, get it twisted or mistook.
And we back at it. So this video you can watch on Street Media TV. Shout out to the brother, George Macon. This video is titled Radical White Conservatives Are Begging Black Americans for This. Well, let's get into it.
We spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
But so you still think he should be impeached? I think
it's my turn, isn't it? You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied. Okay. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
All right.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The ship is officially leaking oil. And a lot of MAGA is starting to jump ship from Donald Trump. You know, this guy, man, he ran his whole campaign on racism and lies, right? We always know that he was saying that he did not want to destabilize the Middle East. We should not been in Iraq, right? And we know that they helped. They helped Iraq, right, go into Iran in the 80s and the late 70s, and it's a whole story of the Middle East and a bunch of fighting with that protected class. We know that protected class has always got America to be their attack dog, and American citizens have been being unalived because of the conflicts that goes on overseas. So now that protected class always had W America supporting them all the time. But now we're in a day and time where a lot of W's no longer want to support.
So just because we like to hit y'all with some scholarship, let me go ahead and pull this up as well, because this is what the brother is talking about. You know, because the U.S. will try to say we're not the world's police, yet we're always meddling, right? The United States began helping Iraq, the same Iraq that they said they have weapons of mass destruction. If they did have them, where they get them from and who trained those people, right? They don't want to ask that question, right? So shortly after Iraq invaded Iran, September 22nd, 1980, this support grew throughout the 80s and included intelligence sharing, economic aid, and dual-use technology that strengthened Iraq's war effort. So they were intelligence gathering and exchanging, sharing, economic aid, meaning money. They were giving them money and weaponry and allowing them to use technology as well, right? When did U.S. support begin? Hold up. In 1980, Iraq launched a surprise invasion of Iran on September 22nd, 1980, starting the Iran-Iraq War. The U.S. initially stayed neutral, but soon shifted towards supporting Iraq. So in the 80s, they were supporting Iraq, giving them money to the tunes of millions and millions. And not only that, they were giving them ammunition. They were sharing intel saying, hey, if y'all want to bomb Iran infrastructure, these are the coordinates. Yeah, they on that block over there. They on that island over there. Here's the money. Here's the stuff, right? A culture of debauchery, deceit, and treachery, right? By 82 and 83, U.S. assistance became more direct, including intelligence sharing, economic aid worth billions. I said millions, and I undersold it, right? They gave them billions and billions. This was in the 80s. They never stopped doing it, but this was in the 80s. You niggers don't deserve reparations, but Iraqis do deserve billions to bomb other Arabic, Muslim, Middle Eastern, North African nations, right? They also trained them. They trained the Iraqi soldiers. They gave them weapons as well. Why did the U.S. support Iraq? The U.S. viewed both post-revolution Iran after 1979 as hostile and destabilizing. But the U.S. is hostile. The U.S. goes around and destabilizes, but they don't want anyone else doing that. Washington feared Iranian influence spreading across the region. So they don't fear Israeli influence spreading across the region, but they do fear Iranian influence. Supporting Iraq was seen as a way to contain Iran and prevent an Iranian victory. You know what they call that? A proxy war, right? How does this benefit you again? How was this America first again? Don't worry, you don't have to answer. It's not. Let's get back into it. Give me uno momento, and I'm going to pull this video back up. And we are back at it.
That protected class. They say that they are conservative Christians. And under that protected class, they don't believe in Jesus, right? They don't believe in Jesus the way that conservative Christians do. And they don't feel as though they should be overseas losing their lives for a plight or a fight that has nothing to do with them. And a lot of presidents ran on, we're not going to be at war, we're not going to be supporting this, we're not going to be supporting that. And a lot of MAGA now is upset. They saying that we should do for America. One of those people that was a strong supporter of Donald Trump at one time in MAGA was Tucker Carlson. He's talking like this now.
This is Israel's war. That's what it is. It's not an attack. It's not an attack on Israel, by the way. It's hardly anti-Semitism or Jew hatred. It's a fact. Head of state came to our country. The head of a state of 9 million people came to a country of 350 million people and demanded that we help them, or in effect, do it ourselves, topple the regime in Tehran. Now, how did they get the leverage to do this? That's a complicated question. And it's something really worth thinking about. But how did this tiny country with no resources and 9 million people convince the world's great superpower with the greatest military in history to do its bidding in a way that was going to hurt it? Well, again, many layers to that question. But the most obvious and immediate answer is because Bibi told the president of the United States, you can join me or not, but I'm going. And the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, said this in a call to congressional leaders yesterday. He said Israel said they were going. And at that point, you really only have two choices. You can get on board and try and help, or contain Israel's war. That's part of the calculation here. Israel's going. Let's try and keep this within bounds. Let's try to be a moderating force on this adventure, whatever it turns out to be. Or you can tell Israel no, and they'll just do it.
Accommodations for every wish and need.
Candace Owens, and so what's that guy? Tim, the W. So many of those W MAGAs over there are now turning their back on Donald Trump, President Trump. And, you know, they already knew this. See, because like I said, we don't live, we can clearly see what's going on. We know who's running the show. Y'all know I've done videos where I've showed you guys who runs the show, who helped finance the Revolutionary War. I've showed you my real hardcore supporters. I've given you the history. I told you who was very good friends with Robert Morris during the Revolutionary War when it was established in America. Who helped him? Who was filling up his pockets, right? In the establishment of America. And why do you think America is so, it seems as though America is so indebted to that place, to those people over there, right? And they do anything they tell them to do. To the point now with Nick Fuentes, he's also calling this stuff out.
I think that Trump likes the idea. I think that Trump likes the bucket list. He likes war. He likes firsts. This is why he's talking about occupying Greenland and Canada. Trump wants to be the president that does everything a president does: expand our territory, assassinate foreign leaders. He's not to be messed with. He does all these things that no other president has ever done. I think that there's an ego thing. I think, and maybe this is totally irrational, but this is just a hunch that I have. I think he really wants to. Knowing him, knowing his personality, I think he wants to be a president that dropped the bomb. I think he's sort of like, I think he understands the gravity of it, the weight of it. I think there's a serious side to him. There's like a conscience that says, I don't think we should do that. The human toll is unbelievable. I think there's another side that's really tempted. That's one. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's a bad read. Maybe that's me character assassinating him. It's a hunch. Two, Trump is really being backed into a corner on every front. On Russia, on China, on Iran, in Congress, in LA, everywhere you look, it looks like Trump is not really getting respect. Trump is just getting cucked and shut down and cock-blocked everywhere he goes. Russia won't make peace in Ukraine. China surrounding Guam and Taiwan. Iran refuses to negotiate. Dropping a tactical nuclear weapon is the ultimate deterrent. And it almost reestablishes the deterrence that was established when the United States dropped the original atomic bombs.
I mean, and it gets so crazy because listen, they don't even hide it no more, right? They don't even hide it no more. Listen, they are friends with the protected class, and like I said, I'm just a reporter. I'm just reporting. I don't have no skin in the game, right? I'm just a foundational Black American reporting the news, right? And this is what the people MAGA is upset about with Trump because of this.
And these people do like Israel.
Hold on.
And he loves Israel too.
It's true. 2 seconds.
6 years ago, I was up here, and I said, "This is our first Jewish president." It's true. Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two not consecutive presidencies. We thank you for everything.
So
now you hear the Jewish people saying Trump is the first Jewish president who served 2 terms. So a lot of those MAGA maniacs and morons and those bloviating bigots who love to say it's the Jews. Okay, does that include Trump? Let's hear that one more again. Apparently, Trump is the first Jewish president
To serve 2 not consecutive presidencies. We thank you for everything.
So now Nick Fuentes is saying that it's time to jump ship, and he's voting Democrat. He's no longer voting Republican. He's saying that he's coming out now and he's going to vote for the Dems. He is not supporting their support of that place, of those people, right? He's not supporting that. And he's saying now they want to unify with foundational Black Americans, and they want to unify with Mexicans and whites and all these other groups. He wants to unify with now, right? Now, mind you, he's Mexican as well, but he identifies as the W sometimes. I mean, it's hard to understand with Nick Fuentes nowadays, which way he is, which way he's going. We know he's part of that the Skittles. You can tell he's part of the Skittles crew, right? But he's telling people, don't vote Republican, don't be a part of this regime, don't be a part of this, don't be a part of that. Like, these guys flip-flop more than anything. I mean, I'm talking about the pivot that they use should be studied.
Apparently you can go from 0 to a complete site in just a single prompt with Wix Harmony. I don't know if this is going to be possible or Vibe.
We have to put all the differences aside. We really do. We have to put the differences aside, left and right, Republican, Democrat, Christian, Muslim, white, Black, men, women. We have to put all that aside and stand against the occupation. Let me put it very simply in terms everybody can understand. Our country is under a hostile occupation. That's what it is. Our government is occupied. Our government, our elites, all the institutions that control the country. The United States of America is an occupied nation. We are occupied by a hostile alien force, and they have so much control that they are able to send our sons and daughters, the bravest and best among us, to kill and die for their agenda. It has nothing to do with protecting America. It has nothing to do with defending the homeland, our interests, anything like that. Our sons and daughters, the bravest and best among them that volunteer and take up arms, are being sent to kill and die, to take life and give up their own lives for the agenda of this hostile occupying force. Call it what you want. Israel, world Jewry, organized column. That is what is happening. And I don't care what color you are. I don't care what party you vote for. I don't care if you hate every other one of my views. I am a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe we are all created by God. And I believe that the ethos of our civilization is selfless love. I think it's time for all of us to unite every one of us to unite against this hostile force. If you are with me against this unnecessary bloodshed, against this expansionist, wicked, ethnocentric agenda in murdering and killing and looting and hijacking and parasiting, if you're an American citizen, if you long to be free, independent, and sovereign as an American, then I am with you. And we all have to stand together. And I mean it. I mean it. Not a rhetorical trick. It's not a bit. I'm not rage baiting or anything like that. We all have to unite now as Goyim, as Gentiles, as Americans, as Christians, either as true believers or aspirationally, people that recognize the core of the Christian message, which is that we are all created beings. We all have natural rights. We all have dignity against this regime, which obviously rejects that, which all of us to expand their empire, which would donate and destroy anybody that stands in their way with no scruples and no remorse. That's the message. And I feel that now more than ever. And honest to God, we really need to see the light here.
We're in a day and time.
So Nick Fuentes says, we need to see the light? Huh?
Who is we? Who is we?
So Nick Fuentes, who has a history of grotesque and vile anti-blackness, you just put it all to the side because we need to unite to what? Become anti-war together? Okay, fine. Let's put all of the slurs, epithets, and derogatory language you said about my specific lineage and ethnic group, right? So now we've come together, right? And hypothetically, miraculously, we stop the war. And then what? We stop the war, and then Nick Fuentes goes back to calling you a nigger, right? So these people, they want to unite. Here, unite, help us crash out for all our cause. And once the objective is completed, then we'll uphold and maintain a racial caste system, a racial stratification system, right? Nah, I'm good, bro. If we're going to unite, we're going to be united as equals. Don't say that we're equally important to smash this smash the pro-war faction. And after we smash the faction, it just goes back to segregation and redlining and NIMBYism. Nah, I'm cool, bro. If we gonna be separate, then let's just stay separate. Separate but equal. That's segregation. Yeah, but you've been championing segregation, right? That's what you want. So we're just giving you what you want. So you don't have to hassle. You said you have black fatigue. Fine. Then let's segregate so you don't have to see us, think about us, or anything, right? So I'm about to get ready to shut her down. I will play a series of some short visuals, so hopefully y'all stick around to the end. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world. Y'all chose to be here with me, at least momentarily, and for that, I thank you. So I appreciate all the people watching this live concurrently and that will be watching this on the replay, gang. Now, one thing that I like to reiterate is that it will not cost you a fee. The likes are free. Even if you're a hate watcher, still hit your boy with a like, right? Because this will help to boost this content in the algorithm, and I will give you much more content to hate on. If you're a supporter and you're unable or unwilling to contribute financially, don't worry. You can contribute freely by hitting that like button and also subscribe. Click the notification bell so you stay abreast with the impromptu streams that I do until I get a schedule. Right now, I'm probably about like 200 subs away from getting 1,000 subs. I do have a goal that I set to get 1,000 subs, hopefully by the summertime. I know summer starts like the first part of June. So hopefully I can get the 200 well before then. Even if it happens after, I'll still be grateful. And if it happens before, I'll still be grateful. So I appreciate all the support. But like I said, the likes are critical to helping this channel grow. And here's a friendly reminder. Time for a like intermission. We kindly request that you show love to the channel's creator and platform by leaving a like, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest content. Liking posts is completely free and helps the algorithm boost our reach. We want to grow the community larger and larger. So thank you all who take the time to support us. It does mean the world to us and doesn't go unnoticed.
B-Eazy Dat Dude. B-Eazy Dat Dude.
Ay, 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 yo. B-Eazy is that dude you already know. For sure, you already know. It's easy to see why he is that dude. He's been a favorite, even if you hating it. Give him his flowers, pay him respect. He's a certified legend and one of the best. B-Eazy, remember the name.
B-Eazy Dat Dude.
Be easy, he is that dude. It's plain and obvious. A certified professional, ain't never been a hobbyist. He is one of the nicest, realest, coldest, and dopest. So you should take notice. Woo! That dude, be easy. That dude, be easy. That dude, show love and support to B-Eazy Dat Dude. Be easy, he is that dude. Ooh, he is that dude, be easy, he is the one that you can call so he can get the job done. He about to reign supreme if you thought his run would soon end. He just getting started though, so go ahead and tune in. Be easy, he is that dude. Ooh, he is that dude.
If you feel the vibe, like, share, and subscribe. We growing on this journey. Come and take a ride. If you wanna slide with that dude, be easy. We going all the way to the top, believe me. All the way to the top, believe me.
Yeah. Hey. B-Eazy Dat Dude, yeah. Shit so hot it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up. I bring the pain like an aftermath of a car wreck. It's a lot of niggas that say they real, but to me that shit is far-fetched. Them cats is pussy. They really is on some feminine stuff. I rock up on them with the 40 ounces. It's a definition of adrenaline. What it do is sweet like cinnamon puffer. My niggas is rough like Willow Pass. Grew up out on Merrimack, but I used to hang on Willow Pass. These birds that I roll with, outcasts and misfits. Better zip lips when you get hit. When the fifth spit, flat line in your pit. Trap habits is black magic, no voodoo. Get the bands like Buku for the cocaine to go cuckoo. Most these niggas is foo-foo, so I'm shitting on them like doo-doo. I can't fuck with y'all like tofu. I'm just saying, man, like Goku. Bad bitches at the house with me watching Netflix or Roku. Fuck them both at the same time, and I swear to God it was so cool. Street legend, real boss, I call shots cause it's still saucy. I know some G's to the bike crack on Chirac and then fly back out the mill. When they hear me flow, they say I be burning up. Cookies to the draw is what we burning up, burning up. What you ain't know, oh, we burning up, burning up. This shit so hot, it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up. Can you hear me flows? I be burning up, burning up. Cookies to the draw is what we burning up, burning up. What you ain't know, oh, we burning up, burning up. This shit so hot, it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up.
B-Eazy that dude. B-Eazy that dude. Yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the ballroom, you gotta stand the rain. B-Eazy that dude. Yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the ballroom, you gotta stand the rain. B-Eazy that dude, yeah, they know the name. B-Eazy that dude.
You ain't know. Let's just be easy. Hey, hey. Let's just be easy. That dude. Be easy. Is that dude? You hear me? You feel me? Ooh, ooh, ooh. B-Eazy that dude.